For the moi et toi, I decided they needed reinforcement in writing. So online they go to moi et toi. Scroll down and I'm taking full advantage of a Quizlet. This is called Familiarize. I'm going to hit this image. Make sure show term first and both sides is checked off. So you see a question here. Sophie, tu as un animal? Oui, j'ai un chien. I show this to the students on the smartboard and they already have this sheet in front of them, and I actually cut this sheet in half. So they have a half sheet in front of them. And if they're talking to Sophie, she says, oui, j'ai un animal. So I ask, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire, Sophie? Tu as un animal en anglais? And the volunteer would say, Sophie, do you have an animal? And I say, oui, j'ai un chien. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire, j'ai un chien en anglais? Yes, I have a dog. So if that's the case, together we find Sophie, and we find pet, and we have a dog written. We do that together. We do the next one together. Anne, où habites-tu? J'habite à Buckhead. I ask them what that means in English. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Anne, où habites-tu en anglais? Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? J'habite à Buckhead en anglais. And we go to Anne and we go to Buckhead. So far we have two answers together. Anne, c'est quoi ta nationalité? Je suis américaine. So I ask them what that means in English. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire en anglais? And we find Anne, nationality, American. So we've done 3 together. I give them 10 minutes. Give them 10 minutes to find the remaining 21. Some of them will actually finish early and they'll tell me that. So the nice thing about this is it takes the entire class and they can work on their own pace. So once they're done with that, I tell them to go to this back arrow until they get back to the moi et toi. And then they're ready for multiple choice, and it says term 20. So they hit this. Sometimes the definition is checked off. Just make sure the term is checked off. Multiple choice only. 20 available questions. Before they do this must be completely filled out, and they had 10 minutes to completely fill it out. So they're on their own, and they are doing the multiple choice, and they grade it at the end. I'm just putting random answers here, but they grade it at the end. The average is a 95. They'll get a 95 or 100. I make it a 10-point grade in my grade book. After they're done with this, they step it up to the learning portion, which is this area here. It says check off term first and show symbols. Term first must be shown, so the question is asked, show symbols, and we'll go ahead and ignore punctuation. So Paul, quel âge as-tu? We have to look at the answer over here in English to figure out what the French would be. So I might say j'ai 11 ans, and I'll check it. I'm actually incorrect. It's 11 ans et demi, so anything I'm wrong, it'll correct me in green. And I don't mind if they write et demi. Anything underlined in green, I don't mind if they write that on their notes for future reference. Now their goal is to get 10 correct. So far, it says I have 1 correct. Technically I have 0 correct because I got that wrong. But their goal is to get 10 correct, and they could make as many as 28 correct. But the first part, filling in the chart, they have 10 minutes. The second part is the multiple choice. They have 10 minutes. And the remaining of the class can be to try to get as many correct as they can. Their goal is 10. In a class period, I got someone as high as 24. Some people get 0, some get 1, some get 5, 10. It's a range. So they get €5 for every one they got right. And so if they make 10 correct, they get €50. If they don't make their goal of 10 by the end of class period, that's their homework. And this is the last one. This would be the following day because you don't have time in one class period. Now this is show symbols only and take off punctuation. So this goes from statement to question. So j'ai bientôt 12 ans. Now this is tricky because it has to start with someone's name. If I remember correctly, Sophie was asked this question. Quel âge? This is nice because it has a symbol. Quel âge as-tu? So they have to pay close attention to punctuation. There's a comma, there's an accent, there's a hyphen, there's a question mark. Okay, I remembered it incorrectly. It was Eric, quel âge as-tu? It does say I have one correct, but I technically don't have one correct. I don't know what's going on there. Press any key to continue. Oui, j'ai un chat. I believe Anne had a cat. So Anne, tu as un animal? Ah, Paul had a cat. Tu as un animal? So that was the answer for that. Their goal for this is 10 correct, but they can make as many as 28 correct. And this takes a whole class period. People are at their own pace, and it works very, very well. They learn through their mistakes, and they get to write notes, and they can spell these extremely well after this. So 2 class periods, 1.5 class periods you do this. So they are allowed to write notes, and they have all the answers filled out. We have 7 correct in about 6 minutes. Very impressive. 12 is correct. Let me see your notes. You don't have that many notes, actually. Nice job. 7 correct.